Hello, 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 hello. I was trying something new my daughter told me I could do, but somehow I didn't do it correctly, so it didn't work. So I just want to say good day to everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Leslie Montgomery, and this is Leslie's Lessons Learned. It's LKM Kingdom Living, Leslie's Lessons Learned. And we have a wonderful guest with us today, and we're excited about our guest. We know that it's going to be truly a blessing. I just want to say to anyone that is discouraged, anyone that's looked in the mirror and said that they um, don't know if life is worth living, I want to encourage you today that it is worth living. I want you to know that without a shadow of a doubt, that you have been called for such a time as this to do what you've been called to do. So, in the meantime, I want to say I'm messing with stuff and I don't know what I'm messing with. Okay, I want to say hello, hello, hello. Uh, I'm trying to do the things Mike told me to do and trying to add little things, but I'm gonna have to critique it and work on it a little while. So I'm sorry. I'm gonna get back focused now. So I just want to say to you, I want you to be encouraged, and I want you to know that you are unique, you are special, and that you have been made for such a time as this. And if you're still wondering, is life worth living? It's because you are in a place that you need to look past what you're going through and begin to see the bigger picture. Right now, your picture's kind of narrow because of what you're going through. So I want to encourage you today and say, please, please, please take the time, sit down, and find out what Yahweh, which is God, has in store for you. And good morning to all those that have come on. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to say, hey, Alicia, how are you today? Um, just introduce yourself as normally.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I am Alicia Johnson, the creator of the 1212 community, and I'm very excited to be here once again with Leslie's Lessons Learned and our special guest today, Erica Bishop. And I feel we got company again, so I'm gonna try to act right. I'm gonna try to act right, but we're gonna see. Welcome, Erica.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I greatly appreciate it.
yes, it is an honor. I count it an honor and a privilege that you're here with us today. And we know that you're a wealth of knowledge and that you have so much to share with us that you can pour into us to help us be better at the transformation and the forgiveness part of transformation. And I want you to just take a minute and share with our guests a little bit about you and a little bit about your ministry.
Oh, well, thank you so much. My name is Erica Bishop, and I am the creator of Empowered to Prosper Coaching and Consulting, and launching tomorrow my online, which is called Evolve and Elevate with Erica. So I am so excited to have been in this space today. I have 25 years in coaching, facilitating, leading leaders, but my life changed when I really began to apply what I had been teaching in corporate America around emotional intelligence. And I began to understand that emotional intelligence was not just a methodology for the workplace, but it was a lifestyle that you could actually live. And when I began to add that to my healing journey, going through my healing process, I began to become more congruent in my life. I was one person at church, one person at work, and one person at home. And my life was all over the place. And I knew that that's not what God wanted me to have and to live. So when I began to discover what it was to master self, to become a master of myself, and to be a better version of myself, my life began to change. So that had become my mission, to help others to go from being stuck in their emotions to living an abundant life through self-mastery.
Well, thank you, Erica. I love that. And today I know you're going to talk to us about transformation, and I'm excited about it. And I'm going to let you start. You said you were ready, and you had something to share with us. So I'm going to let you go ahead and get started. Y'all forgive me. I'm
Okay.
trying to do too much over here.
No, that's fine. And please, at any time, interject with any questions or
I
any other
will.
dialogue, because I know that this is an interactive conversation.
Yes.
But when you had started with, when you shared with me what you wanted the topic to be, transformation and forgiveness, I immediately thought about my own personal journey of transformation. One is that you want to have the desire to transform and be open to the ebbs and flows that you're going to go through that transformation process. Just like when you think about transforming your body, there's going to be some pain in that process. When you're talking about working out every day, there's going to be discipline, there's going to be sacrifice. It's the same thing in the spirit. There are things that we're going to have to give up. There are things that we're going to have to challenge ourselves day in and day out. And there are even some places that we're going to have to revisit that did not heal right, that sometimes has to be rebroken so it can heal the way it needs to in your transformation process. The first thing you have to do, one, is to be open. Two, is to really center yourself in God so that He can tell you exactly what it is that He needs to change. Because, see, we can change things in ourselves and make it convenient and what feels good for us. But when we let God take the wheel, it's a
Yes.
whole nother situation. And we
Right.
understand
Right.
that He's going to take us through places that, okay, God, I wasn't ready for that. No, I don't want to do that right now. And He's going to be like, no, we have to do this. So it's one of those things that you first have to be open for your own journey, and make sure you have a good support system around you as you're going through that journey, and people who are going to be willing to be honest with you. I'm a firm believer that you are the sum total of the five closest people around you. And the Lord told
Mm.
me, He said, these are the five people you need to have in your life. They are truth tellers, goal getters, multipliers, intercessors, and visionaries. And if you don't, this is what you desire to be, these things, those are the people that you have to have in your life. And I
So before
intentionally
you go
pray.
any further, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
ma'am.
Can you just repeat them again? Uh,
They are truth tellers, people who are going to always tell you the truth and be honest.
mm-hmm.
Visionaries, people to help you have a clear vision. Alicia teaches it all the time. No one can take you any further than they've already been. So you have to be a one that has a vision. Multipliers. God gives us our, see, when we remove the subtractors out of our life, we add the multipliers into our life, because
Mm-hmm.
that's how you walk into that place of abundance. And then you also have to have intercessors. You have to have people that are praying for you, because there are some spaces where you may not have grown to have enough strength to pray for yourself, especially if you're coming out of trauma, you're coming out of bad situations, you have been depleted of a lot of your strength. So you have to have people that are also interceding for you. And then you have to have people that help you to see what goals you need in your life. When you have what I call purpose pushers, those people that help you get to these different milestones in your life, you're able to move from one place to the next. Alicia has been that for us in a lot of different cases. I mean, I'm going live tomorrow, being
Yes.
pushed to this place to have my own platform. So it's in those spaces where you begin to center yourself around, these are the things that I need for me to be healthy, to
Yes.
have a
So
healthy life.
I hear what you're saying, and this is all good. I want you to slow it down just a little while you're talking so that we can grasp what you're saying. But there was a few key points you said already, because you were talking about how we need people in our lives to help us, almost like being a midwife. You
Correct.
were, like being a midwife, and there are situations and there are times that we need a midwife. There are times we need those, and Alicia, you can chime in anytime. We need those people in our lives to help push us, help encourage us, and to help us see, you know, most a lot of people, I'm gonna put it this way, a lot of people I know, they don't know what their purpose is, they don't know what the vision is, they don't know any of these things. And we have a group of people that's walking around in circles over and over again because they don't know. They have no idea, they have no clue, because that's one of the areas that we're not taught or how to go through. We're not taught that or encouraged to seek Yahweh, seek God, to find out what that is, to find out what He has for us to do, what is the purpose. And I always say that Christ, Yeshua, He came, and His purpose was to come to the earth. His destiny was to cross, and He went to the cross, but He had a purpose after that. And His purpose was to go to sit back on the right hand of the Father, because He still had work to do for us. It's the same thing with us as the people of God, that we have a destiny, we have a purpose and a destiny. A lot of people think in their mind that once you hit your destiny, that's it, there's nothing else. No, that's not it. That's just the midpoint to get back to where you have to get to. And when you get back, that doesn't mean that it ends. The task that Jesus had didn't end. He still has a purpose. His purpose is to intercede on our behalf. He's still interceding on our behalf. So we can't think that once we get to that place, that it's the end. We have to understand that that's just one assignment that we have completed. So I'm keen on that right there, because that's key, that we have people that can encourage us and push us and make us, like you said, I thought you already had the show going already. I didn't know it just starts Monday till we was talking when Alicia came on, and I'm so excited about your show. I don't even know what to call it. I don't. People like, you have a show? No, it's not mine. It's not mine. What I'm doing is because of God's grace. What I'm doing has nothing to do with me. I'm just a vessel. When Christ came on the earth, when Yeshua came on the earth, He was a vessel. And that's what we are. We are vessels to be used by the Father. So, those points you made right there is that we're not an island, we're not alone, and we're not sent here to do it alone. If you think about it, even though Christ came, there was purpose, even though all the purpose that came and tied in together, everybody didn't look right because everybody was not for Him.
Mm-hmm.
But they pushed Him to the next place. And that's something we have to be. But the good thing to a place, what took place, it caused Him to fulfill what He needed to fulfill. But He could never have fulfilled it if He didn't have love for those that was not on His side, for those that was not willing to help Him, but were willing to push Him to the cross. The purpose and the destiny was the cross. So the enemy helped Him, but through people, to get to His destiny. So unless we have love, when we look at those people, we're not going to see that.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
We're not going to see that. So yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
thought those were some good points that you brought up. Well, they're good points. I don't know if you want to say something, Alicia.
Well, I'm enjoying the dialogue. As far as the categories of the people, it's so important that you have people that are so far along, like so far ahead of you, that they can take you through the process.
Yeah, that's good.
And that's what Erica is very proficient and very well versed in the work. Like, you can't, if you're only two steps ahead of somebody, that's not going to help. Like, you have to be so far ahead and continuing to grow so that everyone benefits from the work. Everyone benefits from the assignment. And it's interesting that you used the working out piece, because today I'm doing my first like Pilates class, and I was thinking, if I go up in there and these people are just learning Pilates, somebody's gonna come out injured. Like, you don't go in there like, oh, okay, this is your first time doing it too? You're going to teach the class? Okay, no, I need to know you got like 15, 20 years of experience. You understand my problem areas. You understand, you got to understand so much about people before you try to help people. And the only way that you can help people is if you help yourself first. So that was the thing, like when Erica said that she had to start to apply the information to herself, because I think you said you were like 3-4 different people, and
Yeah, that
that
was good.
that's all, that's very powerful. So so continue on, Erica. I'm ready. I'm ready to take
So
my.
let me
Uh-huh.
just say this before she go any further, because that was a good point. We have to come to the place that we know who we are.
Mm-hmm.
We have to come. If you never came to the place to know who you really was, you would still be those three people.
Mm-hmm.
But you had to come to a place that you took time to know who you were and to operate from that place. We have to know without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, please don't get me wrong. We have incidents times when we don't we question. We question. But even in that questioning, we have to, before we help somebody else, like you two said, we have to help ourselves. And how is that? How do we help ourselves?
Well, you have to get tired of hitting your head up against a brick wall. It's one of the first things. I got to a point I was sick of me.
Right.
So, I was sick of me. And then when God tell you, yeah, I'm tired of you too, because he has a way of catching my attention. He'll be like, chick, look, get yourself together. You are not doing what I asked you to do. And it was one of those things that when you get tired of being in that place of spin, of going around the same thing over and over again, and you really realize you're repeating patterns,
Mm.
and you're finding yourself in the same place year after year, and you haven't grown, and you're like, is this really supposed to be my life? If I'm supposed to be a daughter of God and
Mm.
I'm supposed to be a kingdom citizen, why is my life looking like this? And that's that personal responsibility that you have to say, you know what, something has to change, and I have to be the one to take the steps, because the work has already been done. Jesus Christ finished it on the
Right.
cross. And when I
That's
keep
right.
repeating the same stuff, it's like I keep nailing him back to the cross again. So I have to be the one to stand and be strong. So you know what? This is time for me to change. Now I'm putting my life fully in your hands, because see, I was still in control. I was still trying to make decisions, and I wasn't smart enough to know what my life was supposed to be. I was being three different people. You already crazy. You're not even doing what you're supposed to be
Right.
doing. And let's be
Right.
real. So, and I didn't have a term for it, but now it's called code switching. We know that in corporate America, you go to work and you code switch, and well, hello, good morning, how are you? You do that. But then I was code switching at church.
Right. Right.
I was the
Yes.
happy Christian at church, and just
That's
mad at
right.
God, because my life was in shambles, and thinking that God wouldn't know, but I was sitting up there trying to be, well, God bless you, and just as angry and mean, and all kind of stuff was going on. And the Lord was like, do you really think you're gonna make it into heaven acting like this? You're not.
Right. Right.
So you have to get to a point where I'm tired of what I know doesn't work. I need to trust God to go to the place where He said it is going to work. So
And
you
that's
have
the
to first
key.
start with that. Then you have to
That's the
start with
key.
that first.
Yeah. That's the key. Trusting him. because who he says he is.
Mm-hmm.
And what his word says is true. And he
Mm-hmm.
tells us in his word that he will lead us and that he sends, he sent help from the sanctuary for us to understand who he is, that we can get a foundation in our lives of who we are. We can quote scriptures all day long. We could sit up in church, sing on the choir, we could usher, we could preach, and never know who we are and still be hitting that brick road. So yeah, we have to. That's one thing we have to do. We have to know who we are.
I'm gonna add something real quick. When you think about the forgiveness piece, and I want to add that to what you just said, it wasn't until I forgave my biological father I began to really trust God,
Mm,
because I had this notion in my mind that God, the Father, was going to show up and disappoint me like my biological father had done.
wow.
And those are two different people. But
Yes.
they not even a person. There's no even comparison. And you have to separate that relationship. And when I began to know and understand the capacity or lack of capacity that my natural father had, and that I could not associate that with my spiritual father, then I began to trust him more.
Yes.
And
That's
that
good.
changed a lot of things. I had to
Hmm.
begin to trust him more because he was not going to uh, disappoint me in those places. And I had to be truthful and be honest, not only with him, but also with myself. And I had to forgive Erica first, me,
Right.
for the mistakes that I made, the stuff that I did, the disappointments, and get from up under the place of condemnation so that I could trust God, so that he could really take hold of my life the way the Holy Spirit needed to do so.
And that's good. I'm gonna put a pin in that for a minute because I meant to honor all the fathers today. And since you put a key that out there about the fathers, I want to say to all the fathers, I hope you have an amazing day. But every day is Father's Day. It's not just today. And those that have been faithful and those that have been sowing into their children and helping develop their children, I honor you today. And those of you that might not know how to honor or how to do for your children, look, your life is no different than ours. What we're talking about today is the same thing that goes for you. You know, you have to learn who you are and allow Yahweh to begin to develop you. And in the midst of that, your relationship with your children will change. So I just wanted to say I honor all the fathers today, and I appreciate you, whether I know you or not. I appreciate the fact that you are a father. So that point about the father and being um, forgiving your father, I is a very key point because I hear a lot of people say that they couldn't really relate to the father because of their father, and that right there is a valid and a very key point because we're talking about authority. You know, when you look at father is supposed to be an authoritative figure for us that represents the Father in heaven. So when you think about it, it is a very key point that you made that you have to forgive your earthly father. Doesn't matter what I mean, there's some fathers that's done some real bad stuff, but you as a person, male or female, you have to forgive because they are only whatever they have done or can do. It only takes God that can heal them or change them. So free yourself no longer hold that person accountable for what they lack.
Hmm. I
And
have a
I
question.
just wanted to say that. Go ahead.
So, Erica, when you forgave is your father alive? Is he on Earth? Is he still here?
He is.
Oh, okay. So,
Mhm.
did you was it a face to face conversation, or was it just after?
I'm gonna tell you how that came about. So, the Holy Spirit will gather you very quickly when you're out of line. Okay, so it was one of these situations where um, one of my brothers had died. This is my father's son. He had Down syndrome. I had two other. I have had a total of three brothers. Two are deceased, and then I have a living brother. And this was my brother, Chris, and he had passed away. And I was on my way to home to the funeral. And it was a part of me that wanted to have a little attitude. Like, well, my dad has not been a part of my life. Why am I going to be this supportive daughter? Like, I have children. My father has only seen my children maybe two times in his life. And and I brought my children with me because it was the right thing to do. And while I was on my way, I'm having this dialogue in my heart about this. And I'm on my way there. And the Holy Spirit said to me so very clearly, He said, "You're going to have to accept the apology from me.
Hmm.
You're not going to get it from him because he doesn't have the capacity. He doesn't know that he did anything wrong. So you're
Right.
going to have to accept the apology from me."
That's good.
And then the whole way I cried like a baby the whole way there because I had to understand that all we have to understand that our parents are also people
That's right.
and they have also had a journey. They have also had experiences. They have also had trauma. They have also had things that have happened to them that have shaped them and made them who they are. Just like I had to go through my healing journey through the things that shaped me, he needed to do that as well, or needed or had done it as well because of whatever happened in his life that I have no knowledge of.
Exactly.
So I had to extend grace because grace had been extended to me. And it was that I said, why am I holding my father to a level of expectation that one, we never even talked about it. Two, I don't even know where he is with it. And I am in a stuck place causing this to myself. So
That's
I
right.
had to forgive. I had to forgive. And when I did that, and one of the prayers I have prayed constantly intentionally through my healing journey is, God, I need you to love people through me. And by you loving people through me, that softens my heart, those little rocky places in my heart. So I had to forgive him. And when I released all of that, I had enough love for not only for myself, for me, and for him. So all of that had to be forgiven because I don't know my father's journey. I don't know the trauma and things that he may have been through, but it helped me to realize that the last time I did see him, when my grandmother passed, when his mother passed, he told me, and I knew how hurt my father was. He said, I don't want to love no more because it hurt too bad.
Wow. Wow.
So the only thing I can do now is just love on him. Whether he loves me back or not, that's not even the issue. It's the fact that I love him just because I'm supposed to.
Amen. And that's good. It reminds me of my father. And when my mother and father separated, my father didn't come around, and I searched him out and found him. And he started coming back around, and he said, the reason why I stopped coming around is because I was going to kill everybody. He said, my plan was to take everybody out. It seemed like everybody had a plan to kill me, but that's what he said. And I remember one day I called him after I got saved and all. And I was praying, and I called him, and I was like, I forgive you for everything you thought, everything you've done. I forgive you for it. And he called my sisters and brothers and said, y'all watch out, so take care. I mean, see about your sister, something wrong with her. Because I had called him, and I was like, I forgive you. And he was like, something's wrong with her. And my brother called me. He's like, are you all right? I was like, yeah, why? And he began to tell me. And I just started laughing because he thought something was wrong with me because I called him and said, I forgive you, you know. But I was just, like you said, drawn with compassion, you know, for him, and knowing that he was in the military. Not just that, but just the fact that he was my father, just the fact that he was doing what he felt he needed to do. And, you know, I don't know the circumstances. I know that his father left him and his mother when she was
Mhm.
young. I mean,
Mhm.
when he was young and he wasn't
Mhm.
there. And he found his father um, after he was maybe in his 60s. And he went, and his father was blind by then. His father was a well-known chef. His father was blind, and his father couldn't do anything. And his father was married. My father went to live with them, and he took care of him until he died. When my grandmother, which was his mother, began to fail in age, he brought her home with him, and he took care of her until she died.
Mhm.
But just to have the compassion for your father you hadn't seen in years, and you finally run into him, your aunt told you where he was or something, you go to see him, he's blind, can't see, sick, and you pack up your stuff and you move there to wait on him hand and foot. That's compassion.
Mhm.
That's love. So I thought about that when you were talking about your father. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you can go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't know if Alicia had anything, anybody
She
else had
looks like
anything.
it, right? She
But
looks like it.
yeah, but you know, as you go through your transformation process, that's a part of it. There are parts of your life that the extensions of your life that you also have to heal. That's a
Right.
part of that process. And you're not going to have all the answers. You're not.
No,
And you're
no.
not going to get the opportunity sometimes to get the dialogue from an individual because they may have passed on, or you may not be able to get questions answered because of whatever situation or circumstance it may be. But you have to trust that forgiveness works whether you get an opportunity to say it to that person or get it from that person or not.
That's right.
It's just like faith. You just have to believe that it's been done
That's right.
and walk in the principles of forgiveness. And when as God continues to wash your heart and you heal, you realize that pain magnifies things in such a way that when you get healed and you go back and look at it and you say, I wasted all this time on this small thing. And you begin
Holding,
to
holding
prioritize.
both of you responsible. I mean,
Correct.
holding both of you.
Well, and then you're no longer held hostage because you find yourself holding yourself hostage with your own personal hangups about stuff that really you can just, shake the dust off your feet and say, you know what, that's okay. And when you begin to, and as you go through your transformation process, and you begin to pull the wisdom out of every situation, I'm a firm believer that there are no losses, there are only lessons. You don't lose a thing. You learn from them all. And when you learn from something, you always come out on the winning side. If that
Yes.
person walked away out of your life, what did you learn from it? You still win. If you lost a job or something happened, what did you learn from it that you can apply to your life as wisdom that's going to make you better? You still on the winning side. So when you begin to extract all those lessons and you gather up all these pearls of wisdom for your life, you find that you're so blessed. The other stuff just no, it doesn't compare. And it does, and you just say, you know what? Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. You can't count it all joy. Really. You can.
And I love that point that you just made. That's how a lot of people miss so many miracles that are encoded in the process because they quit too soon. And
Too
that's
soon.
that's why I continually don't quit another thing. If God wants to end it, God will end it. And God has such a beautiful way of ending things that you can't even open the door. You can't even find the crack. Like you can't even, when God closes something, that thing is closed. And it lends itself to a new beginning. When we close something, we always have that question, I wonder what would have happened if.
Yes.
And so with the whole forgiveness piece, I think people would have a lot less forgiving to do if we got to the end of things.
Mm-hmm.
If we would complete the process, if we would so like when you're talking about like losing a job or things ending, when I would quit jobs before, it was always that incomplete, it was a comma instead of a period. And so every time I would leave something, I would be connected with old coworkers. Girl, they did this. They made this shift. They made that shit. Well, shoot, if I had stayed there, maybe. And now I have to start all over again with my leave, start all over again with my savings, start all over again. And so this very last time, I was like, I'm not leaving. Lord, you going to help me to see this through to the end. And everything that happened prior to that, people were making me mad. People were, it's just like, but through that process, God was like, forgive and move on, forgive and move on. Because if you can forgive and move on and remain malleable in the hands of God through the end of the process, all of the rewards that you want are right there.
Oh, right
That
there.
was the best job release I've ever had in my life. That severance, the 30 extra days of leave, all of it was amazing. I was like, I ain't never
Mm-hmm.
quit this job right here that I have right now. Alicia Johnson ain't quit nothing. They gonna have to be like, look, we gonna come to your house, get your computer, drop your check off, give you this, give you that. If you learn to forgive quickly, what does Dr. Vicky say? Live an unoffended life.
Mm-hmm.
Keep
Yes,
Definitely.
yes,
forgiving, keep
yes.
moving.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Hmm.
gonna make
Mm-hmm.
that
Hmm.
makes a difference.
It
So,
does.
yeah, that's good. And two things. Wisdom goes beyond you. You go beyond yourself with wisdom. Solomon, when he was asked, what do you want? He went beyond himself. And guess what? Not only did he get what he asked for, the wisdom, but he got the flow of everything else that came along with it. When we release, that's healthy. The healing process. When it feels good when you don't quit, it feels good when you see it to the end. There is so much uh, um, health in that. There is so much. What's the word I want to use? There's just so much in there. Like you said, if you hold out and you don't quit, you get the benefits of not quitting. And what
Mm-hmm.
does wisdom say? If you embrace her, and we know that Solomon embraced wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
rewards, it says you'll get rewarded. You'll be put before kings in so many words. It says that you'll be crowned. There's just so many when we don't quit and we allow wisdom to move us along the process that we'll receive if we understand we can't quit another thing.
Mm-hmm. Your conversation with God changes.
Oh, it does.
So when I did a study on Solomon and the fact that he could have asked for it, the fact that God even was in with the fact that he was even in position for God to ask him a question
Right.
is a miracle in itself. But that
Yes.
whenever you get to a place where God can ask you what you want to make sure you ask the right thing. And because he asked for wisdom, he got everything that was also part of his heart's desire. But he said, you know what, God, I'm not going to ask for that. I want the wisdom. So your conversation begins to change. And I know for me personally, that's the only thing. Day in and day out, I ask for wisdom every day because the abundance comes through the wisdom. Wisdom itself
You
is wealth.
position yourself.
You position yourself up. So when you understand that wisdom itself is wealth, then you ask for that. Everything else is a part of the process. Everything else comes with that because when you use wisdom to make the right decisions, he's guiding you to the places and everything that has everything that goes with it. Because what is it? Wisdom is what I think it's in
I was going
Proverbs
to,
8. Wisdom is more precious than rubies. So,
yes,
you
yes,
begin to flow in a
yes.
different place. So as you go through your transformation process, you go through a place of forgiveness, you're asking, how do I navigate these relationships? I need wisdom. How do I navigate my marriage? You need wisdom. How do I become the parent that you want me to be for these children? I applaud everybody for whatever parenting group you have, but every child is different. You love them both, but you can't love them the same because of
Not
their
the same.
personality types and
Yes,
what's encoded in them and what
that's right.
it is God has put in them. And you're learning just like they are learning. And you have to have wisdom to deal with your children because I
Yeah.
know I got to a certain point. I said, Holy Spirit, thank you for raising your kids because I sure didn't do it because I didn't have sense enough to do it
Oh my,
because
I know that's right.
I was going through my own process, and
Yeah.
as a parent, I know I made a ton of mistakes,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
had to go back and ask my children for forgiveness. I said,
That's
I'm
right.
sorry, I wasn't my best at that point, and I appreciate you giving me grace.
Yeah.
So you go through those places, and that's a part of your process.
It is. It is.
wow.
And even though we're talking about wisdom, we have to understand, and this is our what we've been standing on this month.
Mhm.
Um, you have to get knowledge, but you most of all you got to get understanding. It's very important that you just don't take wisdom and run with it, but you got to understand from the word how to use wisdom.
Mhm.
We got to understand that wisdom is the principal thing. Let's think of a school, the principal. You have a principal, then you have a vice principal, you have teachers to teach the children. So we have to understand that we can't just run with, you got a lot of people running with wisdom and don't have no knowledge or understanding. And what do we call, I call those people, and a lot of people say they have they're smart, but they have no common sense because they never
Mhm.
took the time to develop that wisdom. We have to develop wisdom.
We do. And I have a saying that I say at work all the time. Common sense is a flower that doesn't grow in everybody's garden.
I love it.
It's not.
That's
Everybody's garden
good.
don't look the same. It's not. And you have to nurture it. You really do. And that comes with being in God's presence. Um and being in a place of where you can hear. I remember when my life was so shambled, I couldn't hear. But it wasn't until I got settled in not only in my spirit, my mind, and my body, so that I could hear God speak to me, so that I could begin to put order to my life, to gain the necessary wisdom to operate and to move into the way that He needed me to. So I didn't end up in those places. Because I remember when my life was in shambles, shoulda, woulda, coulda was a question that I always had. It was a conversation. I should have done. I could have done. I would have done. But when my life became settled and I began to operate in wisdom, that conversation went away.
That's a whole
Because
conversation by itself.
yeah, that went away because I did what I was supposed to do. And if it was something I didn't do, then I had to repent for it because I was just plain old disobedient.
And that's I think that's one of the keys with wisdom. With wisdom comes great humility.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be very humble because wisdom requires all of you, not just the parts that look like you have it all together, not just the wisdom is all encompassing. So you can't just say, I want to be wise and rich. I want to be wise. And wisdom takes you through so many aspects of life. And this is why, for me, wisdom and provision. Those are the two things that I consistently ask God for because provision is as humbling as wisdom because
Yes, ma'am.
it requires you to see things from perspectives that you never entertained before.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so humbling, and I think that that's what a lot of people don't want to acknowledge, especially when it comes to wisdom. When you come to wisdom, you have to admit that you know nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I know nothing. I'm in sandbox. Guys, like going back to sandbox because we got to start this all over. When you rely on provision, you cannot tout about how much money you have. You can't, the money piece is irrelevant when it comes to provision. And I think that God does that a lot of times to humble people, to take money out of the equation so
Mm-hmm.
that you can understand wisdom. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy that you brought that up about wisdom is one of the most humbling um, requests that you could make of heaven.
And real quick, and I'm gonna let Erica finish. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you finished,
No, no,
Alicia?
no. Go ahead.
If we think about it, if you read the chapter before, Solomon says, "I don't know anything. I'm a kid."
Mm-hmm.
He was 25 years old, but he told the father, "I don't know anything. I can't do it without you."
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny that you say that. So I'm pulling a story from work now. So uh, I'm working with a very large company, and a lot of our median age has shifted a lot to around about that 25, 21, 22. And it's funny to me that you said that because there's so many people. The first thing they say, I'm a full grown this. I'm a full grown that. And I'm looking at them and I'm saying, why are we having this conversation that we about to terminate you because you didn't do what you were supposed to do? Because you're so grown. You know what I'm saying? So, it's you're right. It does humble you and it allows you to see because we know that haughtiness comes before the fall. And when we get prideful, and sometimes we can see ourselves falling, and the Holy Spirit will warn us. But when you stay in that place of humility, it helps to keep you from all the bumps, the bruises, and the scrapes. And when you bumped your head enough, and going back to when we started the beginning, you have had enough trips and falls, you will learn to go somewhere and sit down and say, God, I need wisdom. I've gotten to know how to navigate through this because me and myself will more likely mess this up. And I don't want to have to come back and be crawling back to God. You know how it is, crawling back to God and say, Lord, get me out of this. And he's sitting there shaking his head like, here we go again.
But
You're right.
the beautiful part about that, if you've done this work enough, you realize that heaven wants to protect you at all costs. Like
Yes.
heaven wants to do that stuff behind the scenes. So I know for a fact by the time something makes it to the natural, by the time people are saying, I told you so, you have been so disobedient that God couldn't do anything else with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know how many times? I mean, And this one woman, now this was funny. This was like one of them documentaries. She was a like a jewelry thief, like a girl.
Yes,
You know, I
Oh,
don't
I
know.
saw that. That was good.
She was a black lady. She was like in her 70s or 80s,
yes.
and she had been doing it so long that
Uh-huh.
she didn't get caught to the very end. Like God was protected. Like they asked her the question, like, "Did you ever think about stopping?" And she had gotten signs before, like, you need to not do this anymore. You need to not
Mhm.
do this. The woman went on for like years being protected. Heaven will be like, come on now, don't do this anymore. Come on, you need to reel this in. When you get to the point where you are exposed, that's a whole nother ballpark. That's like heaven's like, you know what, we done.
Mhm.
Now we gonna let
Mhm.
the world deal with you.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
powerful. Heaven doesn't, in heaven's wisdom, heaven's like, if you get it now, you're not gonna have to deal with this. Because I be watching these crime shows, like, if you had stopped like 1 year ago, man, you could have like the $30 million. You could have all of it. I'm like,
Mhm.
my God.
Definitely. And that's people who are blatantly doing stuff wrong.
Right,
And then
right.
I was,
And
you
don't
know, you have
care.
these conversations in your head. And I was, talking to God about a situation. And he said, now you belong to me and you go in my name. He said, I will expose you first before you make my name go bad. I said, okay. So it's one of them like, oh. So you get gathered up again real good. And it's like, okay. He said, you can't do stuff in my name and not do it right. He said, because I'm gonna make sure my name stay good. Because see, I swear by my name. So I have to do everything by my name has to be correct. So I will expose you first before you make my name go bad.
That's
So
real.
you are correct. By the time you get exposed, he like, oh no, you ain't gonna take me down with you. I'm gonna expose you myself, put you on out there. Because
It's
he gives you ample opportunity behind
He
closed doors
does.
to
right,
get yourself together. And the Holy Spirit be trotting right along with you, being like, shut up, you talk too much.
Talk
Why are
to.
you doing that?
That's
Like
me.
you did you really have to say that? Like, oh my God. I can see the Holy Spirit like, oh Lord, she about to mess up. Jesus, come get her. So and he's giving you all these signs to get yourself together because he's full of grace, so much grace. But we can't keep on sinning that grace would abound.
yep. And
So
that's where the sin versus iniquity. Like
correct.
if you missing the mark, heaven's like, come on, let's square it up a little bit, move it to the left, move it to the right. But when you know that you know that you know what you're doing is wrong, that's a whole nother ballpark. Like I know heaven is giving me direction, but I don't even want to listen to heaven right now. And that's when the curtains open. It's like, go on, girl. And so I do want to ask you, like, how does emotional intelligence play into wisdom and humility? Like, how do you? Because it's like it seems like emotional intelligence is more of a personal work. Like it's more of a when I think of emotional intelligence, like you were saying at first, it was like a corporate thing. It was something that
Mhm.
the world used. But when you started to transition emotional intelligence over into the
Mhm.
spirit realm, how did you marry the two? How did you?
The full spectrum of emotional intelligence starts on the inside and ends on the outside. It
Oh,
starts with self awareness and ends with empathy, really. It ends with relationships, it ends with how you deal with people on the outside. So it starts with first, let me get myself together. Am I where I need to be emotionally? Can I express and say, this is what I want?
okay. See, I was
What
looking at it more from the outside in
it
versus
starts with the
inside.
inside first. It
Okay,
That's
got
starts
good.
with self awareness first. I
it.
have to know me. And the only way I get to know me, I got to let God tell me exactly who I am. Because see, I was wearing all these different images that I thought I needed to be, because I was code switching in all these different places to try to please. I was a people pleaser, trying to please everybody else. I didn't have enough self-awareness, so my true self was aggravated.
Right.
My true self was aggravated. Like, okay, like, do we have to do this to get your business? I knew I was being fake, but you do it because you're trying to please other people. So when you get to a point where you get true self-awareness and you begin to answer the question, this is who I am and this is what I really want and this is what my boundaries look like. Because I didn't have any boundaries, I had to overextend myself to be what everybody else wanted. But when I began to become more self-aware and have more boundaries and establish boundaries, I was okay with being me and said, this is my level of capacity and this is what I can and cannot do. And then from there, you begin to manage relationships
That's good.
and let people know this is what I can and cannot do based upon who I am or who you are. Because when I begin to see myself more clearly, I begin to see everybody else more clearly.
That's what I was getting ready to say. So emotional intelligence helps you to test the spirit by the spirit.
Exactly.
It helps you to, I mean, you can test the spirit, like you can test the spirit by the spirit with any sort of personality you have, because if you spot it, you got it. So I can spot a liar because I used to lie. I can spot this person because of the characteristics. But I think that for me, when our paths crossed, we were both solid in who God had created us to be. So the synergy was quick. Like
Yes.
when I met Erica, it was like, I just like her. Like it wasn't
Mhm.
like any kind of trying to sort through, like, I wonder what she acts like.
Mhm.
I was scared to talk to her.
Oh, Erica. Oh my God. It was so funny because, and then too, it's like when you have that emotional intelligence and you've done that inner work, it makes relationships easier. Like I
It
used to
does.
have a problem
Yeah.
in the world when you're operating in a man-made progression and you make those fast friends, that's
Mhm.
problematic because you've met them under certain circumstances. And
Those are trauma bonds a lot of times.
that's
Mm,
good. That's good.
that
And
is good.
I was a little leery when I was started to operate in a God made progression, and people would cross my path and I just liked them. Like, oh my God, I think I want to be friends with them. They're fun, they're this. And I was hesitant, like for a second, like, is this real? And God is like, in God's economy, you can let your guard down. In
Correct.
God's economy, you can get, because that wisdom and that the Holy Spirit is going to help you to vet that thing faster
Mhm.
than in a man-made progression. So emotional intelligence is very powerful
It
when
is
you do it the right way. When you do it in a God
godly way.
Yeah, in a
Mhm.
godly way. But I think when I first heard you talk about emotional intelligence, I really was like, I'm thinking corporate. I was like, I ain't gonna learn nothing from this. I'm like, whatever. But it was different because I'm thinking emotional intelligence from a corporate sort of perspective where you got to do things to go along to get along. You need to be emotionally intelligent to connect with your customers. You need to be emotionally intelligent to work with your colleagues. But that's not what this is. It's
Mm-mm.
so much deeper than that. It's bigger
It's really discernment.
than
It's truly discernment. It's what it is.
right.
It's discernment through the Holy Spirit
Right.
and how to navigate in the natural. It's really
Mm,
how God has allowed me to see it and to teach it. And I teach it from that perspective.
mm,
How do you operate in your life so that you don't get caught up by the tricks and the schemes of the enemy because you're in the soulish realm instead of being walking in the spirit?
That soulish realm is something. Yeah,
The
that's
Yeah.
right.
soulless realm will keep you hemmed up and in a whole bunch of trouble.
Sure will.
Amen.
But
Especially if
when
it's
you
not
truly
healed.
begin to learn how to walk in the spirit, that is where you have true spiritual victory.
Hmm.
Yes.
Hmm. Yeah. It's a
Yes.
freedom.
Wow.
It's a true freedom. It's a freedom that few people truly understand. I think that that helps you to become a better employee. I think that a lot of people, you know how the world teaches you need to quit your job and do these things full time. I'm a firm believer that you need to have both. So like
Mhm,
how they bring new computer systems on, they have a dual operating system, they run both of them.
mhm,
I think you need to have
Yes.
both of them running so that you can perfect your work. Like, I think you become a better employer when you become a better employee. And, like, for
mhm,
you, Erica, that's why I'm excited about what you're doing and how you are integrating both because you're going to be able to help people navigate both worlds effortlessly. You
mhm.
Yeah.
do the corporate piece, you know what the world requires, but then you can take it even like you like an undercover, like I know you be doing like I know you had a corporate stuff that you do, but it's
Mhm,
like deeper than that. Like you like, I'm gonna give
mhm.
them this, but this is what I mean. I'm gonna say this, but this is what we gonna do. So I'm just girl, you slick. You real slick with that.
I love it. I really do love it because it allows me what I teach. I do it at work every day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of funny to me because when people come to my shift, they're like, "Oh, we like y'all. Oh, this is fun over here. Oh, this is the
Yeah.
best shift in the building." And I think I'm grateful for it because I'm true to myself
Mm-hmm.
and I
Oh,
operate in such a
wow.
place of peace that very little rattles me. And if I am, that means I'm out of alignment.
Yes.
And I'm quick to get back in alignment because that means that something has taken place that I have substituted that I need to go back and get back in alignment. So when you get aligned in that place of emotional intelligence, it allows you to have a different meter and perspective when you're out of God's alignment because your peace is different.
Mm.
Yes.
That's
That's
good. I think
right.
we need to have Erica back. I'm like, cause I
Yeah.
want Erica to teach a whole class. I don't know whoever's on here. If y'all have not heard Erica teach, we'll probably have her in the 12-12 doing a whole workshop series. That's what
Yeah.
we.
That
That's
would
what
be
we.
good.
Erica see she's smiling like she ain't said nothing to me about that. We'll talk later.
Y'all know I'm game, but I'm also putting out a beta class.
Yes.
So to do 12 weeks as a master class. So that I will make sure I post that
Yeah,
next
put that out
week.
there. Yeah.
Mhm, for
Yeah.
a beta class for 12 weeks. I'm only going to take a limited amount of people because this is a truly spiritual work because you're deep diving into those places and you get to unravel those places where the enemy has tried to um stronghold you in places of your life so that you could truly live freely.
Oh,
So I'm only going to take a few people, a certain amount, but it's going to be a 12-week beta class. So we're going to kick that off. So I'm excited for
okay.
that as well.
Yeah. Send us that information. We'll definitely
I
Yeah, that'd
check
be
definitely
that out.
will.
good.
And that's
So let me put your information back in the chat again. Thank you so much for coming. There was one thing I wanted to say is um, there was a one of the positions as a manager I had. Years later, ran into one of the young guys, and he was like, "I'm so glad I ran into you." He says, "I've been wanting to run into you," and he said, "I just want to thank you." And I was like, "Thank me for what?" "For being hard on me. Because you was hard on me, it made me a better person." And he was very young, and I didn't play with them. I was nice. Well, we got work to do, and we're gonna get it done. And when he said that, it made me just think, sometimes being a manager and you don't understand your role, like you're changing lives. I didn't
Hmm.
even realize this young man, I changed his life. He said it made him a better man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
How
I,
many people lives do we change
Mm-hmm.
because of us wanting to see them do better?
oh, you're making me think I could go into management. I've always shied away from management, right? And Mike was in
You're
management.
in management right now.
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Mike said
Mm-hmm.
I'm a manager's nightmare. He'd be because I'll be saying stuff to him. He said, see you, that's you the one right there. You the one. But what if I had like the guidance of Erica, the emotional, I think I could have been, because that was the one reason I never wanted to go into management, because I'll go there with you. You know, you go low, I'm going low. Like I couldn't. I couldn't. I have a mouth on me, so it just wouldn't work well. But I think that working with you, a lot of people could really maximize their full potential and not shy away from the things. I'm too late in the game right now, but I wish if we had crossed paths earlier, I might have been somebody's manager. That might have been in the world. That might have been.
Changing lives, Erica.
You
Changing
know,
lives.
it's an amazing thing because I have a person that used to work for me. He'll call me. I fired him. Understand? But he'll call me every so many years and tell me thank you because he wasn't living to his fullest potential.
Right.
Oh
He was
wow.
using the job as a crutch. And now he has his own business, doing very well, has started several businesses. And it's one of those things when you have people to say thank you for the opportunity. But see, when we get to a point where we could talk to people's core, you
Mm,
don't talk at people, you talk to their purpose. And I
mm,
know that I'm supposed to stay in corporate America for a period of time because I am there to talk to their purpose, talk
that's
to the
good.
core of who they are.
That's
And
good.
that's part of that process.
Oh, that's powerful. And
That is.
this is
That
why it's
is.
so important that everybody steps into the truth of who they are. Corporate needs you. Corporate needs someone like you to understand that aspect of life and business. That's
Yes.
huge. I'm
Yeah.
so excited. Mm.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Erica.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate this. I know they're going to be like, y'all having a second part? Y'all having a back? We will have you back because we do want you to talk more about it and whatever you're given to pour into us. Yeah, yeah.
And
We
check
appreciate
her
it.
out tomorrow. Tomorrow,
Eight
Yes,
o'clock.
she goes
yes.
live, so
Oh,
y'all can get more of this
I should put
tomorrow.
that link in there. So,
Yes.
let me find that link. I seen it
You
somewhere.
synced it.
I
Synced it.
seen
And
it somewhere.
that's at 8 p.m. It's at
8
8
p.m.
8
tomorrow, 8
8
p.m.
p.m.
Eastern.
Look,
Yes.
So y'all
y'all
mark
don't
your
know. 8
calendars.
p.m. I got one eye open and one eye closed. So y'all might be, is she on? Is she awake? I might be there, but I'm not sure how awake I'll be. But I'll
Oh, come
definitely
on, come on, come on. No, I'm excited, and this is going to be weekly, correct?
Yes, ma'am. It'll be weekly.
So you can
trying to
catch
find it real quick.
you can catch Erica Bishop. Y'all, we in for a treat. We are
Yeah,
in for a real treat. So follow her, connect with her, get on her email, whatever you have to do. Just make sure you don't miss anything because she tore it up at the conference. She
she
tore it
did both
up
years.
both years and both sessions. She delivers. She delivers, and she's so polished too. Like she's
She
just
is.
oh,
Well,
That's
corporate.
why
y'all
I was
know
scared to
I'm on my
talk
way
to
to the
her.
church house now, so I
Oh,
got to go step in church. I'm on my way to the church
Yes.
house.
okay, well, go on. And she's not code switching. What we see here is what
Is
she gonna
what you get. Yes.
Yes. But thank you so
love it.
much, Alicia and Erica. This was good. I appreciate it. And thank everybody. I'm going to learn how to stop and read the comments along the way. But thank you so much. And to everybody that has joined us today, I just want to say thank you. And I hope to see you next week again. I don't know who we have on next. Um, oh, next week will be Esquire Adrian Mayfield, and she'll be on, and we'll be talking about past as what it was like to be a pastor's wife. So she's going to share her experience, and I'll share some of mine. We're going to put it in there and start
Erica should come back.
developing that.
You were pastor's wife, right?
I was a minister's wife.
Erica, she was a
Yes.
minister's
Mhm.
wife.
Oh,
Yeah,
Erica should come back next. I ain't
she
never been
should
on.
come back.
She should come back. I'm gonna just listen in. I want to listen. Come on back next week,
She
Erica.
is more
I should be available.
okay.
Good. That'll be
Okay.
good. I want to hear all these perspectives. That'll be good. Maybe Mike is.
Honey, look,
Maybe y'all prophesying. So maybe Mike is getting ready to go into a. I'm gonna be a first lady or something.
Oh my God. All right now.
ooh, had to be
All
careful
right, you
what
go
you
ahead,
ask
First
for,
Lady.
my
Okay.
Lord.
Oh
Lady,
Lord, you're right. You,
Lady
I'm
Alicia.
playing. I was playing. Whew. All right, y'all ladies. Enjoy your service today, Erica. Love y'all.
Yes.
Love you
And
too.
happy Father's Day to all the fathers. See you next week.
God bless. Bye bye.
I can't get it to go on.